and welcome to the BetterU podcast, where we go in depth and get to listen to stories of hope, strength, and courage straight from some of the leading health, fitness, and wellness experts who help transform lives one person at a time. I am your host, RKaye, and today we are joined by Certified ThetaHealing instructor, empathy coach, retreat leader, rune reader, psychic, medium, and she's also a nature lover. I love it. Okay, we're joined today by Marie Miller. Good afternoon, Marie. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon, RK. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so to say the least, theta healing is something very different that I've heard. I'm not really too used to hearing it, and I'd love for you to share all of that with us today. But of course, before we go into that, I would love for you to share with us how everything started with you. I love hearing our guests on the show share their own journeys, how it all began for them, and how it somehow became clear to them that helping other people is something that they truly would love to do. So could you share us how it all started for you?
Yeah, back in high school, I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to fix the world and heal everything. My mom said I actually have too much compassion sometimes, and I do. I've had to work on my boundaries a lot. That's a whole other discussion. But then when I went into college, I found that I'm allergic to a lot of different antibiotics and things like that. And I didn't want to go into an industry that also, in the US health industry, is not great right now. It has a lot of issues. And also I didn't want to go into a system that I was A, allergic to, and B, that was that fraught with issues. So then I had like a crisis. I'm like, what am I even going to do with my life, right? I still wanted to help people, but I followed my second love, which was theater. Followed that for years, studied that in college, had my own troupe for a while. And then one day I was having, not one day, for years I was having daily migraines. And I just kind of put up with them, but I didn't know how to heal them. And I was living in San Diego, walking down the street one day, saw a little sign that said foot bath. I'm like, I'll try literally anything. And I ended up doing theta healing and nutrition counseling from this couple. And within 3 months, I was completely healed of headaches. So I'm like, that's my thing. I'm going to be a theta healer.
That's amazing. So, from that experience though, how was it transitioning to learning it? Was it something that you easily were able to learn? Was it something quite difficult to go through? Could you explain that to us? And how do you, I believe you also teach other people now, right? To become a healer themselves. So how does it all go?
Well, one thing that I thought was funny when I got into the classes, I was able to see how all the information that we were being taught in a theta healing class is actually sort of out there. There was all these seeds throughout my life, all these different books that I'd read, and it sort of brought everything together. So it's not that hard to learn, to be honest. We get people through the basic class in just 3 days. I've had people who take one class and then start their business. Some people were more like me, where we take several classes and take our time and sort of, I was doing the thing where I had 2 jobs for a long time, and I didn't want to drop my training wheels and just do theta healing until I moved to Ohio. So I know people who, they're just like, okay, they just take to it like water, because it's more of a remembering than it is a new concept.
That is amazing. So could you tell me, how does it all go? Like for someone, let's say, who is not really kind of like not used to a different approach into becoming a healthier individual, how would you basically explain it to them?
So theta healing is based on the premise that your body is a reflection of what you believe from your own life, what your ancestors believed, maybe what beliefs you have from past life or that you've gotten from the community. So in a session, we do a little bit of talking. We always have a meditation first to get you nice and relaxed. And we're trying to figure out what you believed for 5 minutes when you were 5 years old that's now wreaking havoc in your body. So One example would be I gained a little bit of weight during the pandemic, and I was trying to get back into shape, and I was trying to go back into my old habits. I was a track runner in high school. I could run like a 5:20 mile. So I was very, very serious, right, about athleticism. And I'm trying to get back into it, and I found this cycle of every 3 weeks, my body would push back. And so I had a session with my friend, and what it was is my body was so angry at me for how hard I pushed myself and didn't listen, that when I tried to step into those old ways, my body's like, we're not doing that anymore. So I did this belief work. I basically changed these different beliefs in my body, and I was able to start losing weight and get into shape really easily without my body fighting me anymore.
That is so interesting to me because, like, well, of course, my background is mostly like really getting people to become physically active. And so when I have guests over who have alternative solutions to become healthier, it becomes such an interesting thing to me. Now, today, could you let our audience know what it is that when you have your sessions with your clients, let's say, what's the very first thing that you let them do, or what's the first step when it comes to theta healing?
With a lot of people actually do a discovery call first to find out what's the right path for them, because some people want to take the classes and heal themselves. Some people just want me to work on them. And then after that, it's usually just making sure that they understand what the process is like. But when we start a session, and it's always like, you do your pleasantries and you ask, what brought you to me today? Because we always want to deal with the highest pain point in the moment. Some people have a huge list for me, but we're still always going to go with whatever is most alive, because your body's speaking to you. And so we'll do things like we'll release different energy, release shock and trauma, like make sure we check the energy cords first. And then we'll go into a conversation. So it looks like I do hour-long sessions normally, so it's about 40 minutes of conversation. And then the client gets to relax and just we witness everything getting shifted.
That's really, really so different and interesting. Now, today, Marie, could you also let us know a little bit about how it is that you kind of intertwine your own business and helping others? How do you normally intertwine it with people who are like generally health buffs? Like they go to you there, because there's a lot of people out there, right? Who like they want to go to the gym and then they see someone, oh, I do theta healing. Maybe you want to try it. So how do you intertwine all of that to make it something that's holistic for everybody who wants to become healthier and have a better lifestyle?
Well, there's a couple ways. One of the things is, if the client doesn't know what you want to work on, our standard question is, if you could change one thing about your life, what would it be? Mm-hmm. And that will usually bring up the most important thing. But also, one of my favorite classes to teach is one where we spend 15 days going through the body, like we do one system per day, and we understand exactly what emotions and energies get trapped in the digestive system or in the heart or in the circulatory system. So I've actually become an expert on doing that too, just to help release everything so the body can heal.
So that is very something that's not really tapped into by a lot of experts out there. It's something quite unique for your own practice, right? So are there certain things, let's say, that is prevalent in our society these days that you believe a lot of people should be working on themselves? Like we do live in a society that's very stress-filled, right? Yeah. So what's one thing that you believe people who are listening to us today should try to practice on their own? Like it should be like a daily practice for everyone.
Honestly, breath work. I think everyone should have some sort of a breathwork practice. There's breathwork I learned when I studied with the shaman. There's also breathwork from yoga. There's a few different avenues to get into it, but finding a breathwork practice that works for you, because you want to practice it when you're calm and when you're happy, so that when you need it, that tool is there for you.
Great. That's really, it's something that a lot of people have to get engaged with. Not everyone really welcomes the fact that they're already in a stress level of living, right? Everyone just brushes it off and tells themselves like, oh, that's life, right? It's part of my daily living. So it's always very interesting to find our experts on the show telling us, just simply by having daily habits and changing it up a little, it does help us. Now, currently, I'm sure you've gone through so many different clients already, so many people you've helped, Marie. But is there one person that you have worked with that has had such an amazing transformation that you just can't, you tell yourself like, hey, he or she started out at this point and now they're at such a great transformation? Could you maybe share one story or a couple with us?
The first one that comes to mind was a client I worked with for almost 10 years. We still sometimes occasionally work together, but my goal is less and less that you work with me, unless it's just for the fun things.
Yeah.
And this is someone who didn't remember anything from before the age of 18. There was so much trauma and so much abuse that entire 18 years was completely wiped from her memory. And she actually did not have a great relationship with her son, was unable to even hug him or give him affection, and she had a lot of guilt around that. And we just kept chipping away at all the trauma, releasing it layer by layer until all the memories came back, but like she was watching a movie of someone else's life, and she was able to actually get to the point where she could stand physical touch again and be able to hug her son, and actually ended up like sharing a house with him for a while and really growing that relationship.
That's actually every time I get to have these experts, like everybody who gets to be part of the show, whenever I ask them this particular question, my heart just always kind of like gets so full, because it's just amazing that a lot of people these days, like yourself, make sure that they get to help a lot of people. And just with one story that you guys get to share, it's just truly an amazing thing to just make time to help somebody, right?
Yeah.
So now let's go to your own story. Is there a particular maybe individual, a family member, or anybody who has become a major inspiration for you, or someone that just helps you push through? Because I'm sure you also have your own struggles in life. You've had it. Are there particular people that have helped you get through to what you have become today?
Oh, absolutely. And I love my teachers. So, there's Viana Steibel, who's the woman who wrote the book for Theta Healing, and I trained with her to become a teacher. I'm actually working with a business coach right now, Jules Schroeder, who runs Unconventional Life. She's pretty amazing. But then there's also like when I need help, right? Because I spend all the time helping others, I usually go to either my friend Sarah or Flo. And also I have a team of just friends, especially from the theater, because I got really close with my theater troupe and we just remained friends over the years. So I do make sure that I have a network of people supporting me, so I have the energy to support others.
See, that's actually one thing that people should also get to learn about experts. Experts also rely a lot on people to support them and help them along the way. Like, we're not superhuman to help somebody else, right? So that's just something that's really should many people should really also know about experts. So let's go to the fact that a lot of things that people get to learn are from social media and from the internet. Now, I'm sure in your circle of theta healing, there's also things that you want others to know that, okay, the information that was shared isn't really true. So are there certain myths or, let's say, not really truthful theta healing information out there that you would like to maybe share with us, that, or kind of try to correct?
About theta healing or just in general? Because I have a funny one coming up.
Oh,
okay.
Whichever one you'd like to share, because I'm sure you also have, like, there's literally so much information out there, but there's also particular information that's not really, you know, a little iffy, right? So could you share one, or maybe a few if you'd like, with us today?
Well, one of the things I really love working on is helping people find soulmates, because I did not have the best romantic relationship until I changed some beliefs and figured some things out. And I think the trend is sort of going out, but for a while, people were completely obsessed with twin flames. And from my understanding of twin flames, they are not always the most ideal, because some people tout that as being like, oh, I need to call in my twin flame because we're going to burn so bright, and like they have this beliefs around them. But my understanding is that your twin flame is someone who, yes, you're going to burn bright, it's going to be intense, it's going to be an undeniable attraction, but it's also someone who reflects all of your worst qualities from 20 years ago. So it's like they're this mirror of you that, yes, there's a chance that you could develop into something, but so when people are manifesting for a twin flame, I do try to caution people against that, and there's better words that we can use.
Well, that's something that I was able to like get a quick hold of, and it was kind of like something in passing, and I was like, that's an interesting topic to talk about, and it's good that you did share it. And yeah, for our audience out there who kind of got into it too, well, we should, you know, listen to what Marie just said about it. Now,
and there's more.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's actually 7 different types of soulmates, and like 3 of them are not actually good for you. Not all of them are good for you. Okay. Yeah, and so yeah, I'm very passionate about like bringing in the right kind of love, because I've definitely had soulmates who are misaligned. You know, there's ones who have finished business in past lives. You just have ones who are not aligned for you in this lifetime.
Oh, that's so like that. See, my tongue is tied now. That caught me off guard a little. That's something that maybe some people would need to really consult with you about too. So we'll get Marie's details in a while, but I'll let you guys in. Sure, go ahead, Marie.
So, and then you go to a psychic who doesn't know how to discern between the 7 different types, and you get this reading, and they're like, oh yeah, that person totally is your soulmate. And then they get mad at the psychic who is telling their truth as far as they know it, but without knowing the whole truth.
Oh dear gosh. So people should be very cautious. Everyone should just go to Marie. Like we're not going to anything else but you. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, because like there are a lot of people who also get into this type of this type of like going to psychics and all of that, but of course, like you should also always be cautious of whoever you get to work with, right? Like, of course, like in any type of part of fitness, health and wellness, when you get to work with an expert, you really have to also research on who you should be working with. Now, aside from myths, is there a particular, let's say, portion of your expertise that you would like to share with us today that's very beneficial for everyone? Like something that you truly believe that everyone should get a chance, you know, like it doesn't have to be every single time, but something from Theta Healing that everyone should at least be able to experience at least once in their lifetime, I guess.
I mean, just honestly, just getting a healing at some point, it is pretty magical. Some of my favorite healings to do is we actually do one where we go back in time and send healing to you when you were still a baby in your mother's womb. And that's, first of all, it's super cute to witness. And also it can help just release a lot of different things that started then. But I honestly, my other message for everyone is I do believe every single person has some level of psychic ability. And I know that during the pandemic, it forced a lot of us to become more psychic and more empathetic.
See, that's something that, well, I would just say that I wouldn't automatically believe it, but to some degree, it is kind of like everybody does kind of have their own type of abilities. It's just that you have to maybe channel it, I suppose, right? So, and it's also interesting for me that you did mention like during the pandemic. So could you tell us a little bit more about why you believe that?
So we're all we're sitting in our homes. We don't know what's going on, right? And we're trying to decide if we're going to go to the grocery store, because remember there was a period where even leaving our house was like a thing.
True.
And so what we did is we just remembered this ancient ability to literally send our energy out to see if it's safe. And we were doing that so much, we were like, what's going on in the outside world? And instead of stepping outside, we sent our energy out. And that's like the first step to like really developing your empathy. So I think everyone's sense of empathy escalated a lot during the pandemic. And so I spent a lot of time helping people balance that. And that's why I ended up doing the empathy coaching as a program. It really is psychic training, but people don't always like that word, so we just call it empathy coaching. But really it's, you know, helping people understand that this is a gift, that you can control it, and teaching people how it can be useful. But a lot of the work we do is literally creating the space for it to be in your body and in your energy body.
That is something that we should really all look forward to doing. And yeah, like in any episode, of course, we do get to the latter part or the ending of our whole sharing. Is there anything else that you would like to get to share with our audience today, Marie, before we wrap things up?
Just that I really believe anybody can heal with enough patience and with the right team. I really think that it's possible to do the impossible and to create miracles in your life with your physical body.
That is such a beautiful thing you just said. Thank you so much, Marie, for taking the time again to join us on the show today. Now, to everyone who's like me, who just got very, very enlightened from what Marie just shared with us today. Such lovely information that I'm sure a lot of us are not too familiar with yet, but we will all get to, because I will be sharing Marie's details in the description box below for you guys. So if you would like to work with Marie and learn more about theta healing, you will be able to do so. All right, guys. So again, Marie, thank you so much for joining us. And to everyone listening and watching today, thank you very much for joining us on the BetterU podcast. Coach RKaye here signing off, but always remember to never give up on your movement journey, because it's never too late to move. Bye-bye, guys. See you again next week.